This wasn't just a live stream. This was a breakdown, a confession, a cry from the deepest part of the soul. Millions of fans tuned in, expecting the usual calm energy of Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, as he greeted his global audience from the comfort of his studio. But what they witnessed instead was something no one saw coming. Jungkook in tears, trembling, unable to speak for over 2 full minutes as the notification flashed across the screen. Jin breaks all BTS solo streaming records on Spotify and Billboard Hot 100. The silence was deafening. The chat exploded. "Jungkook, are you okay? What happened? Why are you crying?" And then he whispered it, voice cracking, hands covering his face. "Hyung deserves it all. He really, really does." In that moment, the K-pop world stood still. Because this wasn't just about charts. This was about recognition long overdue. About pain unseen. About years of quiet endurance that finally erupted into glory. Jin's monumental solo success has shaken the foundation of the industry. His second EP, Echo, not only dethroned Jungkook's golden in global streaming numbers, but also became the first solo K-pop release in history to chart top 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 consecutive weeks. It was a feat no one expected, and for some, a surprise too heavy to process. But not for Jungkook. For him, it was personal. He took a shaky breath and continued, this time without a script, without a filter. You all know how amazing he is. But for the longest time, he didn't get to hear it enough. Not from the world. Not even from us, maybe. Fans watched as Jungkook relived memories live on screen. He spoke of Awake. He spoke of Moon. Of how Jin would stay late at night in the practice room not to perfect dance moves, but to sing into the void, pouring his emotion into melodies no one was even asking for. He wasn't loud. He never asked for the spotlight. But he carried so much for us. I'm proud. I'm proud, Hyung. His voice cracked again, and the camera caught the raw sight of all. Tears falling, not from sadness, but from overwhelming pride. Behind the scenes, industry experts have been watching this moment unfold in awe. Some have called Jin's rise the most beautiful and unpredictable redemption arc in K-pop history. Others say it's karma, a silent giant finally allowed to speak. But for Jungkook, it was never about competition. I wanted to break records. Sure. But I always hoped one day it would be him. And then, as if rehearsed by destiny, a call came in during the live. The screen lit up. Jin Hyung calling, the live stream paused. A few seconds passed. And when Jungkook returned, his eyes were red, but his smile, glowing. He said, "Stop crying, you punk. I'm only here because you all let me dream again." The chat exploded. Army across the globe flooded social media with hashtags. Hashtag proud of Jin, hashtag Jungkook cried for Jin, hashtag Hyung deserves it, and the emotional peak. Not a rivalry, a brotherhood. BTS has always been about unity, but today, that unity took on new meaning. Because in a world obsessed with solo versus group, first versus last, biggest versus fastest, Jungkook reminded us that sometimes the truest success is seeing someone you love finally win. And Jin? He didn't just break records, he broke silence. He broke expectations, and through Jungkook's tears, he broke the myth that the quiet ones never rise. Because they do. And when they do, the world listens. Before the cheers, before the records, before Jungkook's emotional breakdown on live stream, there were years of silence. Years where Jin, the eldest member of BTS, stood just behind the line of the spotlight, visible, but rarely seen in the chaotic, fast-moving world of K-pop, where image often overshadows soul. Seokjin was easy to overlook. He didn't chase attention. He didn't fight for lines. He didn't scream for more screen time. Instead, he waited, patiently, painfully, and he cried. Alone, insiders have spoken in hushed tones for years about Jin's quiet struggles within the BTS system. Not because he was mistreated by the members, they adored him, but because the industry itself never quite knew what to do with him. He was too honest. Too raw. Too real. A former big hit vocal coach once shared anonymously. Jin didn't fit the formula, and so the formula passed him by. While others explored solo mixtapes, dance-heavy singles, or experimental collabs, Jin stayed rooted in emotion-first music, ballads, orchestral elements, lyrics about identity, mortality, and self-forgiveness. Songs like Awake, Epiphany, and Moon were never promoted like pop hits, but they buried themselves inside people's hearts, quietly, invisibly, until one day, They weren't invisible anymore, and yet, even as millions found solace in his voice, he cried behind closed doors. In a resurfaced clip from 2018, Jin is seen backstage after a concert, slumped against the wall with a towel over his face. His shoulders shake. A staff member reaches for him, and he whispers, "Don't tell the others. I'm okay." He wasn't. Years later, in a private interview with a Japanese magazine that was never translated until now, Jin admitted, "Sometimes I thought, maybe I'm just meant to support, not to shine." Let that sink in. The man who would one day surpass all BTS solo records believed he was born not to be heard. That belief didn't come from nowhere. It came from being told his voice wasn't commercial enough, that his genre wasn't viral, that his image was too safe in a world that demanded spectacle. But he didn't fight back with noise. He fought back with consistency, with songs that took years to be understood, with lyrics that healed decades of personal hurt in 4 minutes of melody. And now, as the world bows to him, he doesn't wear a crown. He simply smiles. Grateful, gentle. Jin's triumph wasn't overnight. It was the final bloom of a seed buried under 10 years of quiet pain. The kind of victory that hurts to look at because you know how much it cost. The kind of win that makes even someone like Jungkook, who's seen global stages and solo fame, break down and say, "Hyung carried more than any of us ever realized. We saw it, but we didn't always say it. Now the world is saying it for us." That is the story that must be told, not just of the awards, not just of the numbers, but of the man who stood in the background for too long, until his silence became a roar the world could no longer ignore. Seokjin didn't just break records. He broke the lie that kind, gentle, selfless people must stay behind. And in doing so, he opened the gates for every artist who's been told, "You're not loud enough. You're not fast enough. You're not viral enough." To that, Jin says with a smile, "I'm still here." Long after the charts are reset, long after new groups debut and old ones fade, one voice will remain. Not because it was the loudest, not because it topped the most TikTok sounds, but because it healed. And that voice belongs to Seokjin. What Jin has achieved is not just a record-breaking moment. It's a revolution of meaning in an industry obsessed with metrics, noise, and manufactured trends. While others chased the tempo of the algorithm, Jin quietly tuned himself to the frequency of the human heart. And now, that frequency has echoed across the world, louder than any marketing campaign ever could. Music critics, once skeptical of BTS solo projects, now unanimously agree. Jin's voice doesn't just belong to K-pop anymore, it belongs to history. His performances are being studied in music therapy programs. His lyrics are being translated in grief circles and mental health communities. His song Epiphany is now officially registered on multiple songs for trauma healing databases across Asia, Europe, and the US. Because Jin doesn't sing about healing, he sings it into existence. When he sings, "I'm the one I should love in this world," it's not just a line, it's a lifeline. When he sings The Astronaut, it's not a farewell, it's a guiding light for the lost. When he sings Super Tuna, yes, even that, it's joy in its most unfiltered, silly, essential form. And that's why he's unstoppable now, because he is no longer tied to an era. Jin isn't a trend, he's a presence. One that calms, softens, and endures. While digital soundscapes fluctuate every week, his voice grows stronger with every replay. Even veteran composers, like Cho Young-soo and Yuruma, have publicly acknowledged Jin's tonal range and emotional expression as timeless. One even compared him to Korea's equivalent of Elton John, not in sound, but in soul longevity, and perhaps, most telling of all, are the people he's reaching now. Not just armies, not just K-pop fans, but grieving mothers who say Jin's voice helped them sleep for the first time in months.